Hello everyone! In this tutorial we're going to take a look at Illustrator's default stroke and point fill patterns. You find those in the swatch panels. Let's imagine you have a nice graphic like this one over here and you want to hand your sciencey results into publication. Often you need to have them in black and white. So this is what we're going to do today. In the process we're also going to take a closer look at the Pathfinder tool and at the appearance panel. We're also going to see how to stack several fills over each other and also how to adjust them. So, let's get started. As always, you can download the sample file we're working with today on my website. You find the link in the YouTube description. Here we see our haplotype map. And this looks quite nice, but imagine we need to print this now in black and white. We have to change all the colors. And you could of course use gradients for these different tiles in the pie chart, but it's much nicer to use lines and dots to give them some shading and to make them look different. Let's take a look at this document. You can see here that we have it organized in different layers, for example all the rivers. And we can here start with the rivers. We can click on this symbol to select them. If we change the color to some gray, and also the fill of this lake, we select only the lake, we change this to a lighter gray. Now we can lock this layer, and we're also going to lock the border of the map, because we're not going to change those anymore. If you want to apply a fill pattern to one of your circles, you can select it and go to your Swatches panel. If you don't have this panel here, you find it under Windows, and here Swatches, and this should show up if you activate it. And in here you can just click on the fill pattern here, for example, to apply it to this object. You can also make your own patterns by drawing something over here and selecting and dragging it into the swatches panel. However, with lines and dots, this can be sometimes a little bit difficult and messy and doesn't give as nice results as the default swatches that you find already in Illustrator. Let's undo this one here, and to get to your patterns, you can click on this little symbol to open a drop-down menu of your swatches, open swatch library, patterns, and in here basic graphics, and we want to have the dots and the lines. Let's first open the dots, and you see here you have different dots that you can choose from. Now we're going to select some tiles. We select all the yellow ones. I hold the shift key so I can select all of them. And I just click on this one here. And you see the pattern gets automatically applied and also it shows up in our swatch panel. Let's open up the line swatch. We go again to patterns, basic graphics and lines. And here we have our line swatch. We're going to select the green ones. Again, we hold the shift key to apply it to all of them. And I click on this one and that's done. We can close this panel and I'm just going to give the other tiles a black and a white color. Let's have this one black and the other one white. Alright, this looks already quite nice. However, we do have some problems in here. I don't like how the lines are spaced out and also the points here could be a little bit smaller. So also I want to tilt those a little bit. And also you can see here, the river is shining through those lines because the fill pattern is only black strokes with no additional background. So we're going to take care of both of these problems. Let's start by working on our lines. We again select all of them. And I can right click, transform and go on rotate. Usually it also has transform objects activated. So if I rotate it, it will rotate all of my objects. I enter a 0 here to undo this. And I'm just going to unclick this checkbox. And now I have only activated transform patterns. And if you have the preview activated, you also see what's happening. I use my mouse wheel to scroll in here and give this line a little turn. Yeah, maybe something like this. Looks quite nice. I can go on OK. And now I take care of the dots in the same way. First I select all of them. Again, right click, transform, And this time we're going to use scale. And then here we make sure that we have only transform patterns activated. So this is the fill pattern, and it will apply the changes we do in here only to the fill and not to the object itself. We can again change the size in here. For example, we can choose 80% and we click on OK. Let's click here to see our result. And I'm quite happy with this. We can also save this one with Command S. And now we have to take care of the lines that are shining through our circles. We have now two choices to do this. I'm going to show you both. The first choice will be to just put a white circle behind each of these pie diagrams. Let's do this really quick. We lock our legends, just that we don't mess anything up. And now we have only the samples. We can click on this symbol here to select all of them. Then we're going to click on transform and, for example, rotate. I press in here 0 so that I don't have any effects on the object. You see, nothing is changing. And instead of clicking on OK, I click on copy. This will now copy all objects, but keep them in the same place. So I have them duplicated, but they're lying exactly above each other. Let's undo this. And the only thing I have to do now is to go to my Pathfinder and merge these cycles. I click on this button. And you see here, I have now only one object. And to make it everything a little bit more organized, I create a new layer, layer 5. I click and drag them behind. So now our original circles are on top. And I remove the border to nothing and change the color to white. And now you can immediately see the effect. The strokes of our streams are lying behind these white circles. And if you toggle them off, you see the gray line again. So this is the first way you can do this. Alright, let's take a look at the second method. With this method, you can apply an additional fill to your patterns. So if we go to the Windows, Appearance, we can add an additional fill in here. So we select all of one kind of these patterns. If I want to select the legend as well, I need to unlock it first and select this one as well. I'll go back to my Appearance panel. And in here, I click Add New Fill. And I move this down to the button. And I will now change this one to, let's say, for example, red. So you would see the effect. This adds a red background to the fill pattern. But we want in this case to have it white. So you can add different fill patterns over each other with this thing right here. We, however, need to do the same thing now for our line pattern. So again, select all of them and click here on Add Fill, choose white and put it down in this menu to the bottom. And now we have basically the same effect as we had with the method I showed you before. It kind of depends on your preference, which you like most. Let's again save our map. And if you now want to print this map, I would also recommend to save this one as a SVG file. So it would be this one here, because then it would export all your lines as vector files, and it does not get pixelated as it would get if you save it as a picture. Also, in the next tutorial, we're going to take care of this little lake over here, because it would be nice to have a little wave pattern in here to indicate that this one is a lake and not a gray area. We're going to use the new pattern making tool introduced in Illustrator CS6. So if you want to learn how to make your own patterns, just click here on the screen to watch the next video. I hope you did find this one helpful. Until next time, bye bye!